one of the first banks to really delve into the social networking space with the Benche, which was about building an online trade finance community. Can you tell us a little about why you ventured into that space?
Well, actually the idea was born, I think, from the fact that there are these type of communities out there. You know, when you buy a new computer, or in my case actually I bought an Apple, and the first time I should use it, I didn't see where is Control Alt Delete. So what do? Well, I Google and I find the community. Put the question forward there, and 5 minutes later somebody answers me. And that was actually also with Lars Milberg, who is the head of corporates in GTS in SEB. That was what he saw in 2007, when he started to work on the Benche, sort of, and then eventually took it live then in November 2008. And the idea was also really then to connect people then over the net, not then for just say B2C, but B2B. Why couldn't we have the same dialogue? We who are working within that type of community. You know, I'm going to start export to China. What is the normal payment terms for that? And you can get some answer from somebody who's maybe a bit more experienced, and you start on the dialogue in that way. The thing was really, that was one of the perspectives. The second one was, I think, claim the space. You know, nobody's done it before, so why not take the step forward and do it? Because also at the same time, I think Lars also saw that there was a great opportunity here. But I think it was very early. We were definitely among the first, if maybe even was the first one, I don't know. But from that on, as you say, I mean, there are now, in 2010, there are quite a number of other banks who's been ventured into this type of area, very, very much more, I would say.
How many people in the Benche community in total now?
Actually, it's 4,539 for 30 minutes ago, actually. I check it all the time. I can't stop. You get totally hooked actually on this, I have to say, you know. First thing I do in the morning, you know, where's my iPad? And then, yes, 2 more members, you know, let's check them out. Yep, they are approved. And this is really, I think, you know, you get so hooked on it. This. It's great fun. The whole world is there. So I just love it.
We're used to hearing about social networking in the consumer world. Is there different motivation in the B2B world?
Yeah, it's more difficult. Definitely more difficult, actually. Partly then I think to find the right sort of channel on how do you actually then approach the B2B world. In the Benche case also, I think that, you know, when we start to think about it, we talked about the corporate, the bank and so on. But I think really what we have to do was to turn around a little bit and say, hey, it's not really the corporate who buys into the Benche, it is the individual working at the corporate that actually buys into the Benche. I think we were quite sort of, you know, focused on the fact that we were selling products and solutions and so on to corporate. So, and there of course there's one guy who has maybe your contact person at the corporate, but then it's the corporate buying. He represents the corporate. On the Benche, this guy represents himself very much actually. So from us it was a little bit of a mindset to turn around and say, how do you actually then talk to these guys to get them into the Benche and really understand why they should be into the Benche, which has been a little bit of a journey for us also to do, I think, mindset. When we started the Benche, we were very strict on knowing your name, title, corporate name, shoe size, everything. Really KYC, AML stuff, you know. The problem, of course, is that, you know, will you really write anything on the internet with your name, title and corporate name or bank name? Most likely your corporate bank has quite strict policies how you are able to express yourself when you also are representing them, the corporate banks. So what we saw was it was very, very difficult to have somebody to write anything. Actually, what we now talk about is that it's okay to be King Kong on the Benche. Or for that matter, Anita, you could be super good if you like it. That's okay. But we would like to know who you are. We would like to know who you are. But you could actually then go incognito sort of on the Benche. And we see now that now it picks up sort of, you know, you have a more of a, it's more easy than for us or anybody, I think, to write more publicly now. So
are people able to discuss whatever they want?
can anybody write anything? Do you screen it before you post it? No. Everybody can write whatever they want. And it's done. When you click the publish, it is published. The only thing is that the articles and the blogs, those are in queue, and we read them to see, you know, what they say. But then when it comes to the post, of course, we follow it. And I think that during the year I've been doing this now, I think we have deleted maybe 4 or 5 posts, which has been more or less like, hey, you know, my company is the best in the world, you know, come and buy, it's very cheap and whatever. Not allowed. But we have not have any, you know, rude or in that sense, of course. So in that we have not been able even to, and we have not even had to consider that sort of. So I have to say it's very decent, you know, really no problems in that respect. Might become in the future.